Yeah, it was pretty, like my butthole like turned into a flamethrower, and that
like
just
it
totally hurt
sounded
me.
like he actually had gas in his ass.
I had what? State of the Black Blade at this point, just to clear that up. We have gotten to the point we are the Illuminati, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Shade Court, well, it's been 100 years since we've last interfered in mortals. And that was to stop the dude, what was it, Yarkaz summoning the Earth? Who tried to melt the plane of shadow into the material plane?
His name was Alstival. You got involved because that's when Adamus came back into the world.
Yeah, because the Dark Ice Gauntlets got broken or something?
No, he ended up with the Dark Ice Gauntlets, but no, it was the Nightblood staff. It was Valernus' staff that his soul was trapped in.
Okay. And then Adamus got turned into the Shadow Archetype, and that was when Johnny was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna go evil now. And I'm like, oh shit. And that was the whole one of the things I wanted to bring out with Vandir and Linothanadel. Not that Vandir reminded Linothanadel himself, he reminded me of Adamus to the point that he's like, I can't bring myself to like break down camera on it. Because like Vandir or Adamus was Elendor's only like, besides Holland, that was the only person he actually related to, you know. Well, out of the only people Elendor really considered his friends, like besides Savelis, Adamus was the one in Holland, but so Adamus was the one he spent the most time with and got the most like kinship with, like, you know, they were actually friends. Mutual respect, which is why I think it's really cool that they get to have this big coming, like, you know, what happened to us, man? What happened? Why are we here? It's gonna be really cool to play out. I haven't felt emotional attachments to characters in so long. Jesus, I love it.
By the way, The Avengers is really good.
I fucking know, right?
I took her and made her watch it, and it was
really good, and I'm pissed that you guys didn't take me when you guys went.
Hey,
it was male bonding. You wouldn't have liked the butt sex afterward.
No.
Oh, okay.
Or the reach around. Well, the reach arounds are kind of fun, but I don't think you get
Please
that.
stop talking about that. You're disgusting. Wouldn't put it past them, honestly.
High five.
Very nice. Who's saying ham?
No one is saying ham. God damn it!
No one will ever understand the depth of our bromance.
Nope. Zach's a great on-paper player, I have noticed. Like, I really dig Zach's tactics on paper. Like, combat-wise, Zach's great. Like, I didn't realize, like, he was trying to, like, tumble underneath a warg. And I couldn't let him do that. Because I told him the DC was 30. And I think I pissed him off, but I mean, my reasoning for that, just backtracking a little bit. You've got a warg poised for attack. They hunch to the ground.
The DCs on stuff is way too low, if you go by book, in my opinion.
I figured 30, to roll underneath a warg and come out from behind him as a level 2, that's not going to happen unless you roll a nat 20.
Yeah.
No offense, Zach. You're a great player. You get a thumbs up.
However, you don't like realism, apparently. You like to be a badass.
Who doesn't, though?
Yeah, that's true. Who doesn't like to be a badass? It's just some of us take a break and make
Solaris.
Solaris.
Or
city.
Yes, I would like to go meet Yarkaz's. Oh wait, Yarkaz's son was the last guy that saw.
No, Yarkaz is the last guy that saw. We won't get to meet Yarkaz until the council, but you can talk to his son now if you want to. He trains in the guild.
Okay.
He's half Annarrion.
Who would I want to approach him as? Vandir or? I'm going to approach him as Vandir, but I'm going to use Vandir's typical awesome disguise self and come up to him as a half-elf in training.
Okay. Annarrion is sitting down at a table, being annoyed at trying to scribe scrolls. He's annoyed at bookwork. That's what he's doing. He's looking really annoyed, but, you know, trying to do what he has to do to learn new spells.
I'm gonna go sit in front of him. Excuse me, I hate to interrupt your studies.
What?
Can't help but notice your hair. You are Annarrion, but not full.
It's not that hard to understand. Annarrions have sex like everyone else.
Not the question of progeny is not my concern. It's just how does a half Lemurian end up in the Earthenlock Heroes Guild in training? You would think that a Lemurian would stay back home and study and scribe their scrolls elsewhere, even if your lineage is not full.
Well, I kind of had enough of being in Lemuria and living most of my life in cloistered towers.
I understand.
You could say that my parents are a slight bit overprotective.
Well, at least one of them is Lemurian. I have no doubt upon that.
It's actually not her.
Oh, wow. Well, you seem to be feeling rather tense with those scrolls. May I offer some assistance?
You don't look like much of a wizard.
Looks maybe very deceiving, as a half Lemurian should know.
Could be in your coat is butt.
I think I know where they are.
Zach's going to get pissed off because I'm imitating him.
Yeah, but
Fuck it.
He's
You
shitting
sound like him.
He's shitting his insides out right now. But
it's got to be done. And besides, he should probably do a different voice for his character if he doesn't want you to talk like him. I don't know.
Exactly.
Connor says, hey.
You sound just like him. It's
I
so
threw his
funny.
mom on the phone. I'll pick up his phone and answer.
He
Nobody
does
has
the same thing as me. His imitation of me is even less flattering, and it's very convincing.
But people actually believe it.
Oh yeah, they buy it.
I've used to trick Cody's girlfriends, and I'd be here and they'd call. I'd
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Remember
That's
Lee?
the shit.
Lee Carroll, God. Who the fuck is this? Yeah, anyways. My name is John Ballard.
It's a very human name. Most of your kind prefer the elf surnames, don't they?
They do, but what do you think? I'm in the Heroes Guild and not back in my open homeland.
Possibly because you won't mind your own damn business.
Perhaps.
But
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
talk about this one second. Well, people who mind their own business tend to live very uneventful lives, as you should well know, Mari. Says much more calm Jared. At this point, a dwarf walks into the room. He's walking with what you would first think is a quarterstaff. He's walking with what you would first think is a quarterstaff, but it looks like it's actually just an unstrung bow. He's got black hair and a black beard. They're relatively short for a dwarf, probably because he looks like he's only, looks like most dwarven, like 30-year-olds you see.
Young dwarf.
Thing is, he doesn't look about 30. His beard's just weirdly short. Looks like kid dwarves have. Beards kid dwarves have. Like he's just started growing this one. And he doesn't have a holy symbol, although he gives this weird, distinctly stuffy clerical vibe in some ways. But instead of a holy symbol, he's just wearing a belt with a small pouch on it. It looks like it's about the right size for a few coins or a deck of cards.
He's a favorite soul.
He's a dooley.
Alright.
Sorry, you shouldn't be rude to the recruits. Remember, 30 years ago, we were much less competent than he is. Especially me, you don't have to say it.
That was mostly you and Lorena, if my memory serves correctly.
Excuse me, I'm Sir Dwarf. My name is John Ballard. I'm familiar with you. Your name?
My name is Jared, formerly of Clan Jim Whisper, now of no clan at all.
As most of us have no clan nor family around here. I was trying to help Annarrion here scribe some scrolls. He's very much so trying and having some difficulties. Annarrion, what spell are you studying and trying to perfect? Okay.
Right now, I'm working on one called Glacial Thunderstorm. It's proving to be more complicated than I would assume evocation usually is.
I'm gonna pull out a slight spell book, set it down, open up to an empty space, an empty page, and be all like, Mario, pay close attention. You start with it just with one finger, and just start moving it over the page, and some crazy Eldritch text start opening up.
I sense a wildness to your soul. It is strange then that you would develop such
You gotta be louder too.
evident proficiency in the wizardly arts. Many with arcane talent of your particular, I believe inclination to be the correct word, prefer other paths to power.
As you'll come to know, I am all about the unconventional.
The unconventional is what gets people here, so
We fit right in.
exactly.
Now, Annarrion, you seem to be having problems bridging the gap between two different surnames of schools to evoke both ice and lightning. I believe you will find your answer right there.
Van Beer, who
Okay, this
hates,
one, we are sorry.
Just school his
is
character.
going to school Annarrion and
The wizarding art.
yup.
Well, I'll pick the equine archon, not fucking 5.
Oh, never mind, it's still making.
Jared, I hate to be so rude, but might I ask for a private word with Annarrion?
I can see no reason to deny you. It's good to meet you.
It was good to meet you too. We shall meet again soon.
With a sort of intrigued, sort of suspicious look back, Jared makes his way out of the room.
Annarrion, I must be a little more honest with you. I'm not who I seem. Just as you are not exactly who you seem here, I am fully aware who your father is, and I come here on peaceful terms completely. However, there's something I need to know. Your father came into contact with a few men that are of great interest to me.
My father came into contact with many men.
I am quite sure, however, two in particular. Have you ever heard him speak of one, Keandus?
Oh, yes. He loved to tell a certain story when Keandus showed up to this guild and was promptly meteor swarmed in the face.
Of course. Are you aware of how Keandus met his end?
He never told me that story. He told me that they went up north and that Keandus died up there, but he seemed to not quite want to recall the details graphically.
Understandably so. But let me impart a bit of knowledge that your father seemed left out. Do you know who the Nightlock family is?
I cannot say that I do.
The Nightlock family has been a cursed family. Keandus was a Nightlock. As you are aware of his peculiar abilities.
Peculiar abilities? You mean coming back from the dead, or this? And an amber ball of energy appears above his hand.
Both, in fact. You might not want to draw too much attention to yourself right now, if not more do I. I need to know what your father is. This man needs to be stopped.
It's not that hard to figure out where my father is, especially if you are as important as you're making yourself out to be. You can just ask Regniel or made a knowledge check, and
Tomorrow our paths shall cross again, I have a feeling. You will not recognize me, but I will be on your side.
I might not recognize your face, but your hubris would be hard to mistake.
No,
I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that.
And when someone flash my thing, and be like, you can say that. Good day to you, Annarrion. I have business elsewhere.
Everybody dance now!
Okay.
Step one, you put it in the packet. Two, you make it with your hand. Step three, you add a
Okay, the actual scene.
The actual scene.
The big council of arcane goodness is taking place in Lemuria. Regniel Earthenlock is present, as is Helinde Forest River.
Oh God, did get resurrected.
Yep.
Didn't she?
Tanglefinger.
Yarkaz Darnast is there, as well as Darian Blackheart, former Gold Arcan and son of Kirk Blackheart. He's an ancient half-elf.
Wow.
The current Gold Arcan, who is
Asher.
also ancient, Asher Vale, Renarian Wavecaster.
Yeah,
Archmage.
Asher's really old at this point.
The only reason he's still alive is the Silver Dragon blood.
So yeah.
Probably ancient. It looks cool as hell, I bet, because that silver dragon doesn't look awesome in an old man.
Renarian Wavecaster, former Archmage, uncle of Aragon, and present Archmage of Lemuria. Also present are you, Linnea Thonadel, Yarkaz's wife and a more powerful spellcaster than him, Darian's former apprentice and very, very prolific veteran of the Second Dragon War and War of Daephic Magic, Alicia Mistmaker,
Wow.
Amarian's mother. She actually, when we fight, she is the most powerful character in our party. She's level 30. War Mage.
Good God.
War Mage Celestial Guard, the style of
Yeah.
magic that
What Valden was like the first of.
She is like the.
She has that class maxed out. It's the class I made.
Jesus Christ.
You know,
Okay.
they fight with the spear and the bladed shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the razor blades tied off in her hair too.
She's awesome. And she's Lemurian though.
Ooh, so it's like blue razors.
Yep. Okay, there's also, I don't know what they would actually call him. He tries to call himself Rich, but his actual name is Richard Vale II. His dad calls him Red though, Little Red.
I thought Red died though.
Yeah, this is Asher's son. He named him after Master Red.
Oh!
He's Asher's son with Cylindra, who is also there. She's a high-up druid in the Black Willow. The other 9 Arcans that aren't Asher, they are there. The Council of 8, which is the Lemurian.
Snake's still alive.
No, he's dead.
The Council of 8, which is the Lemurian, the
Yeah,
age,
the
the
one-
old Lemurians that are all, wise ones.
Amarion is there, and so is Vandir.
And Carlon.
And Carlon. So you're playing Cylindra and Solaris, and I'll be playing fucking everybody else.
A couple thousand years ago, the Violent Arcan was a sphinx whose wings had been withered by a curse that he couldn't get rid of.
Yeah, he actually died in the Siege of Telvandur. He couldn't get out when the tower collapsed.
Both sad and kind of cool. That's the way that guy would go. Yeah.
Who collapsed the tower to try to kill Alcivul was the Balish Kostiakis. He was the Blue Arcan.
Kind of sad, actually.
That was the dude we had the planer bind who almost melted the Shadow Plane. You remember that fight now?
He was the guy that I like slashed him up inside his armor and he slid out in pieces.
You're like, Karnos will be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So Regniel sits down at the table. We're all in Lemuria, this big ivory carved with waves and fucking shit. He sits down and says, "This meeting now begins," says Renarian. I'll have Asher actually lead in. He is the Gold Arcan.
Okay. This is the first time in any world of Annarrion or Duran that we have all convened here. Thus you must all realize the pertinence of this situation, as most of you are not aware of the plight that has befallen our world and many others. From what I've gathered from Regniel and the others, we stand to not only fight dangers in Duran, but from worlds past, eons past, and from the plane of shadow and the abyss itself. The question herein lies what to deal with first, being as we are of all different dogmas and different ideologies. This purpose of this council is to convene and decide a plan of action as far as pertinence and priority. The Zalan have returned to this world unbeknownst to most of you perhaps, they are not only, and these are not Zakin, these are Avarice's own breed, as has Avarice returned. But we know that
If anyone did, it would be Asher.
that Avarice himself has returned to Duran. That as the Zalin were once almost sentient and relatively non-violent as far as the Zalin goes, they are now the bloodthirsty beasts that once toppled the world prior to our own. As well as what has happened to Davern and a certain Annarrion sacrifice and the artifact that it has created that is in our possession, as well as from what the Harbinger of Karnos and the Shade Council themselves have informed me, the Shadow Valor have returned, seeking vengeance not only upon those who vanquished them, but as before those who stopped their takeover of this plane. I myself witnessed that battle, witnessed what happened to Tel'Vendror. These are no mere slight plights to our world. Every single one of these can spell the end of our world and the Virgin Lands themselves. So, the Council of Eight, the Shade Council, the 10 Archons, including myself, we must decide together if it is to stop this. For not one of us as a faction can stand up to all of these. And as many of you should know, a convening of power makes us a greater force than we can stand separated, period. Now, to the Lemurians in this council, I myself firsthand understand that you are a very isolated people. I mean no disrespect for that, as you are the longest lived race, typically out of all of us. Your main concern has always been to protect your lands, because Lemuria is your sacred city. The sea stands between you and the Zalin. Droves of Shadow Valor, however, will possibly decimate your world. The collapse of Davern and all who stop there stops many trade and commerce throughout our land that can cripple economies worldwide.
Davern is necessary to the survival of Lemuria.
Agreed.
And while we do not fear the Zalin here, it was before I was revived that this war between my nephew and this one you call Valernus transpired. But never before have the plains come so close to rending.
Correct.
I believe that with these Shadow Valors and through the actions of Forgive Me, but you from the Shade Court, you three, your comings and goings weaken the very fabric as well. All traces of this umbermancy need to be stopped.
Leonard
For a
Farnell
time.
stands forward. Wait, he waits for him to finish, but he steps forward.
Okay. To be stopped for a time to allow these boundaries to heal.
Planner workings. Excuse me if I may, Renarian. I'm not sure you yourself can fully comprehend it. Yes, we are all bound to the same plane, and we are all interwoven, yet separately existing. Our traversions and transgressions in between may or may not weaken the boundaries, however, may or may not, the ramifications of which I myself am not sure. The Shade Culture, as you know, operates as a separate entity than the current god of darkness. We operate under the vows that we all took to Karnos. We did not bring the Shadow Valor here. Obstacle did.
I'm not here to place blame. I am merely saying that no matter whose fault it was, this resurgence of umbermancy cannot stand.
Agreed. Umbermancy has been heavily policed for millennia. It is not something that is to be taken lightly. It is not something that has been meant to be bestowed freely upon mortals. For that, you have my apologies. Nonetheless, blame or plan of action as far as umbermancy is not truly our concern here. We have more pressing matters. Lord Annarrion.
I respectfully disagree, even if it means war with Kodamai. We need to contain this.
Surely, Annarrion, as old as you are, and as the oldest living Annarrion in history, you yourself should know what world-spanning wars do. Forgive me, but our own world was decimated and is no more because of such. Because of the interference of gods into the lives of mortals to the point that they themselves identified with them, while I myself and none of us have technically achieved the level of godhood. We are the most powerful beings in this world. The gods themselves are no longer allowed to fiddle in our affairs, yet that is why we are here. Not even myself, I am no longer the right hand of a god, I am the right hand of the will of the Shade Court.
I understand your point, that we have a new life on this world. If the planes merge, there can be no life for us. Perhaps for you, but not all of us want to live as shadows.
Annarrion, are you proposing that the Shade Court and myself completely leave this world?
I'm saying that it is worth considering.
And it shall be. The Shade Court and myself will convene upon that and make our own decision with your own opinions in mind. You have my word. However, he steps forward and he's going to undo part of his silvery badass cloak because I don't want him to show up naked to a big house.
Yeah, I never knew what he wore.
He's going to show up and he's going to have a huge scar across his chest. Shadow Valors are not something to be trifled with, as neither are the Shade. To destroy a Shadow Valor, if he makes its way onto this plane, first, he must send it back in its home to two planes. To send it back to the realm of Shadow and defeat it there, or defeat on this plane means it takes home in either the realm of Shadow or the Abyss. If that is the Shadow and we defeat it upon the realm of Shadow, it returns to the Abyss only to be imprisoned for 100 years. For beings such as ourselves that it is the blink of an eye. They are a constant threat. Annarrion and Regniel and myself, whether we wish to admit it or not, there is one artifact that, although as vile as the enchantment itself, there was only one in existence that has the power to trap souls completely inside it. And we are all aware of who possesses that. And this is not something that we take lightly, nor something that we even wish to acknowledge as an option. However, this is not just Iran, this is not just Annarrion we speak of, but existence itself that stands in the balance. There is no price that is not to be paid to stop this. And I think we can all agree upon that.
I do.
Now, with the Zalin, as said,
At this point, there's a dark cloaked elf. You can only see about half of his face beneath his hood. Looks kind of broken up, actually, like he got beaten up a lot when he was younger and it didn't heal very well. Burst out, so wait, you want to use the most powerful, corrupting object in the world to fight the most terrifying creatures in existence. Am I the only one who sees a problem here? Or am I being insane again?
Your name?
Loris Finraugo, Hand of the Ark.
Solaris, I've seen let's say I've seen firsthand in a past life something of maybe a little bit more terrible than this. I do not know if you existence in this world. Are you familiar with what the Eye of the Kin is?
No idea.
For the price of 1 to 1 million men's lives, it can absorb the world itself into an ritual's infinite abyss inside itself. That is the most terrible item that I have known to ever be existed, next to the Mana Spring itself.
Did that exist in this world other than the Mana Spring? I think I've heard of that.
Either way, I merely propose a drastic measure to the most drastic threat that any wolf has ever faced.
Well, you're a bit... Well, not a bit. You're tremendously more competent in your understanding of these planar workings and ancient divine magics of other worlds than I am, so I'll leave it to you to think you can control yourself. Sorry I spoke out. He'll step back to behind Asher's left shoulder.
Asher's gonna step forward and be like, Solaris bears great weight to his words. That is one of the most terrible items that I myself have ever gained knowledge of throughout any world. Menethanodel, you realize to take possession of that what we must do. Wow, I have to roleplay with myself, damn. Not only do I realize it, but I volunteer. I fear that whatever was left of Adamus Ravenhair or Adamus Nightlock, whatever resemblance he bare to the friend that I once had in a past life is probably all but gone before the one chance that there is. I believe it is worth saving him. I do not call many people friends, and nor do I have any left living, except for him. Harbinger of Karnos, while noble your offer is, I fear that your resurgent humanity is blurring your vision currently. Yes, Adamus has the Chain of Souls. Adamus has not been seen in some time. Locating him is just as big of a problem as defeating him is. I need not remind you that the Zalin have resurged, which means your once beloved elven homeland and even the elven homelands of Duran are in complete peril as we speak. We do not know their forces, we do not know their numbers, and we still do not know the will of Avarice. Annarrion can tell you that Avarice is no mere Zalin, he is no mere opponent. He is a god.
Everyone looks at everyone who's like really smart. Looks at Regniel when you say that.
Now, also, we have the impending Duverny collapse that we ourselves have, even myself, with all as the Gold Ark and the Arkans before me, have no real inclination to how deep this Annarrion artifact, its workings are being unbeknownst to even me.
If I may speak, Darian stands up, comes over. As to the location of Adamus Nightlock, as distasteful as it is to me, I am here not only as myself, as an ex-Goldarkan, and dare I say, very powerful war mage of Aragon, but I am also here on behalf of my father, who declined to be here. And if any of you are stupid enough to not know who my father is the Dread Emperor Kirk Blackheart. And I am also bringing information from another Blackheart, one that I am not so fond of, by the name of Kratos, the Demon Prince.
That's what we should do with that city. Figure out how to steer it, park it right above Kratos' house, and let it fall.
Solaris, there have been very few times in my life when I have agreed with anything you said or did. This is one of those rare times.
That's when the Vandir's gonna bust in, kind of creating turmoil. You're talking about crashing my home onto some asshole's home. Tell me, what if I took your house and blew it up to hurt my neighbor? You wouldn't like that, would you?
Well, honestly, I was out of the house at the time. Not so bad.
Yarkaz will speak up at this point. I think it's a good idea.
We'd have to get the people out first.
I'm gonna hiss at him.
Kind of implied.
Vandir being the most.
Hey,
You can leave the real...
you should probably watch your tongue, because it would not be the first time I killed a demon lord.
But we could leave the tax collectors up. He'll tell us.
Okay, anyway, Darian's going to continue at this point. Say, about 60-something years ago, when Kratos Blackheart was ascending to his inheritance, as my father called it, he went in search of the sword of his ancestor, Eric Blackheart, only to find that in the ruins of Blackheart Tower it had been taken. From the reports of Yarkaz and those who went with him, we have reason to believe that the sword that Adamus now holds, in addition to the Chain of Souls, used to belong to Eric Blackheart, and may in fact still have some of his soul within it. Adamus's insanity may not be the only factor here.
Well, that
We're
explains
talking
a bloody lot.
Asher, so we're talking about not only the most powerful being most powerful mortal or immortal as far as we know, to transcend worlds is our problem.
We are also talking about one of the most depraved, violent, and reckless tyrants to ever appear on Duran.
Don't forget stupid.
Brash. Well, so these are the problems. Asher's going to Carlon's kind of going to go ahead and start popping forward. Not to interrupt anyone. As far as these planning workings go, yes, Umbra magic is something to be policed, and I disagree that it should be squashed completely. However, that is not my
You disagree
argument.
says Cylindra? How can you disagree with the horror it wreaks upon the natural order of the world?
Solaris. Cylindra. You should know yourself. The use of all arcanic energy weakens planar bondings itself.
If the young half-elf stands up, which a lot of people there might not even know, if I may interrupt here, if someone, as very few of you actually may know, who is a purveyor of both arcane and nature magic, and if you will pardon my interruption, Mother, Umbromancy should be policed. I myself, in my youth, were sent by my parents, both mother and father, to apprehend some people who kept using Umbromancy around Telvimbror, where the tears in the flames were weakest. I do not think we are not the Illidan.
No.
We are not going to go around telling people what they can and cannot do. I don't wish to be that way anymore, but perhaps if we all banded our powers together, certain wards, certain spheres of protection against certain types of magics, like we may cast over ourselves in moments of peril, could be placed over these areas where Umbromancy would not even function until the plane of bindings themselves were healed.
That could take millennia, and as Asher, that could take millennia to even heal naturally, even with our own intervention.
Would it not be worth it, Father? the extinction of our entire plane of existence.
And last time I was going to step forward. Well, he's going to be speaking in more of an Ellendorish tone. Who are any of us, as I implore you, the Council of Eight, to heed this, who are any of us to govern knowledge, to say who is fit to know certain things? Aren't all of you who are so well immersed in the knowledge of Arcana, you yourselves will admit that your knowledge is power. There is no forbidden knowledge, only forbidden use.
One of the Archons, I'll say the white Archon, and now stands up and says, "That's easy for you to say when your life won't be wiped out when the planes merge."
That's when he's going to kind of start giggling. Dear Archon, you yourself are aware what happened to Karnos. He is no more. I have witnessed my own world reduced to ash. Everything that I once loved is no more. You can tell me nothing of loss, nothing that I do not already know, that I do not already stand to lose.
Then why are you being so reckless with this world?
Reckless? Reckless? You call it reckless to care for it? To care for the only thing that I have? As a remembrance of my own and as a future?
You're going to have to choose at some point your old life or this world. You were divided and too emotional to be part of this council in the first place. And then at that, Annarrion's going to shut the fuck up, basically.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
Calm down. Everybody needs to calm down, lean back, take a hit of gnome nug.
Okay. And then Carlon's gonna jump forward, if I may. Yes, planar binding, planar weakenings are at hand, and this artifact is of no demonological or abyssal origin, which is more my forte. However, yes, we risk the merging of all planes. But at the same time, if all planes themselves merge, we, not even you, the Archons or Annarrion, can tell us the ramifications of such if they all do merge into one. We could spell the end of all life, it could spell an evolution. We do not know, but what we are here to do is preserve what we have and what we all call our own, and whether or not we wish to admit it, love. So, the object should not be stopping policing at this point of the magics. It should be stopping the problems that we have at hand. The Zalin have returned. Once upon a time, they ripped a world to shreds and brought it to its knees. And
I know more of the Zalin than you do.
Agreed. Seeing them firsthand, I am sure. So let us ask, which are we more fearful of? Because let us not deny, we are here not because to find a thing to do, but we fear what comes if we do not take action.
Everyone is quiet and thinking about what he said.
And Carlin kind of retreats and looks at Vandir like... Vandir's gonna be like, that's my boy.
I love Carl.
So do I.
He doesn't speak, well, or he doesn't speak legibly much, but when he does, he tries to make points.
Two figures walk up in the middle of him speaking. It is Alicia and Yarkaz. They stand up from either side of Annarrion, who looks around. They walk without blinking to just like the very middle, right off the side of the table. And they stand back to back. And they start talking, saying the same words, except for one differentiating word. There are many voices of reason in this council. However, Compared to the two of us, everyone here, including Annarrion, Regniel, the Harbinger, and the Goldarkin, are mere novices. And everyone in the room just kind of starts to look up.
Fuck.
Even Annarrion, their son is like, what? They say, these are the bodies of Yarkaz Darnast and Alicia Mistmaker. You know, they are saying this in unison, except for one word difference. But these are the voices of Valernus Eragon. Woo! There are many dissenting opinions in this room, and that is the wonder of magic, and that is the wonder of humanity and of existence itself. But to come, an agreement is needed to preserve this very cosmology, this very existence. Each person here has valid points and valid concerns. Umbromancy is a danger. The fabric between the plane of shadow and the prime material plane is very thin, and while it may not be the fault of such benefactors as the Shade Court and the Harbinger, their travels do in fact weaken the plane as much as the Shadow Balors. However, the Balors abuse their power far more than the workers of the Shade Court. The object now called the Chain of Souls, my brothers and I have used for vile purposes in the past, but it will trap the souls of these demons, because there are many, many more than the 30 that attacked the Shade Court. They are beyond the astral sea, beyond counting, beyond places where we, the gods, cannot even see. They are the children of Mordoon, and while that god has been sealed since even before we were born as mortals, that is a threat, a constant threat, that very few people watch out for, but it is still there.
When Ithanadel steps forth, Eragon, Valernus, I knew he once and long ago. One as a friend and one as an enemy. There is truth to your words. Yes, our transgressions do weaken planar fabrics, and it has never been our intentions to weaken that fabric. As Eragon, I trust you since, however, not disregarding the damage it has done. But are you saying that we risk Mordoon's freedom?
By these demons, these shadow demons, have been at their workings since before Annarrion was born. So far, they have not found a way to free their father. But it is not a threat that should be long overlooked. I believe that Elendor's plan, and some people might look confused at him saying Elendor, but he's always going to say that.
That's how he knows him.
Exactly. That Elendor's plan is viable, and actually no one knows if Rhaegon or Valernus is the one that said that, and I like it better that you don't know. Who thinks your plan is awesome?
That's when Lenathanadel is going to speak up. Eragon, Valernus, I ask you this because you're the only ones who can answer this. He's kind of going to step forward to him and kind of just walk up to him and be all like, ever since I have set foot into Ron, or the first time I set foot into Ron, I have not felt Karnos' presence, but as time has gone, I have felt certain twinges, certain pulls. My power directly comes from his will. I myself have banished Shadow Balors back through his will. I've sent him to the abyss many times. Is there a way that we may bring him together, bring the pieces of Karnos that have been scattered since Annarrion's destruction? Is there a way that we may bring them together?
They speak in unison. Energy can be neither created nor destroyed. No god can truly die. And then they break loose. Yarkaz and Alicia, they leave their bodies, and you can just visibly see them kind of slump over and,
What the
prop
fuck?
themselves up on the table.
Yeah. Carlon's kind of gonna look at Asher and be all like, he's gonna look at him and just give him this look, and Asher's gonna step forward. As you all are very well, even against my will, of who I am and the pull I have in the pull I have in Annarrion and every corner in it. Although it is not completely unbeknownst to me of great artifacts, but I do know of certain conduits for even fallen gods' energies and things of this nature. The Harbinger makes a good point. I myself, as a hand of the Shade Court in this world, would very much like to see as much power channeled into us as we have, but we'll take everything that we are to stop all of this. He's gonna look at he's gonna look to all the Archons. He's gonna look to all the Archons and be all like, you all, and he's gonna look to the Council of Eight, and you all are the most adept arcane users in this entire world. Surely, even although it has been attempted before, there must be something you all know how to do, even with my help. Something you know to help channel these energies, to resurge lost power and bring together a fallen god, perhaps. And the Twin Vander is just going to be like, I have resources, I may have the items at hand. Do we consider this an option? As undelightful as it may sound to work with my particular organization, which has probably caused more of a headache for you, all of you, than you probably want to admit, I come to you as a friend and an ally. For, well, let's just say hell's not a pretty place, and I don't want to go see Papa so soon.
Annarrion going to say, we cannot force the hands of the deities.
Winifred steps forward. No, that is true. Forcing the hands of the deity is near impossible, but as hands of deities themselves, he looks to the two that just channeled Valernus and Aragon. We act as conduits of their will, no matter how scarce their power, no matter how old or how far away that they may be.
Regniel's going to say something. Then that is what you have to accept. You speak of, you and your friend here, you speak of trying to remake Karnos from his scattered energies. But energies don't just stay scattered, they don't float out in the void. Energy never stays dormant. Listen, just listen. This is what you have to understand, Elendor Lindell, son of Alden. You have been at war with yourself, you say, since you first came to Duran. You have been looking for your master. You are the herald of a dead god, but what you have failed to realize this entire time is that you are Karnos. You are what is left of him in this world. Perhaps to realize that, you must come to peace with yourself.
Elendor does not say shit. He just kind of sits there with
The epiphany look?
that kind of, oh fuck.
Asher, you see him sitting in his chair, and then he kind of like falls forward, braces himself on the table. Everyone just kind of looks at him. He holds a hand with a silver signet ring with a like old English B carved into it up to his head. I have two grave announcements to make. I was going to save this news until the end of this council. You have all heard my words on this subject. Each of you knows my opinion and all the counsel I can give you. But I cannot be here to police the magic world any longer. I've been using magic to keep myself alive for months now, while this council has been planned. But it is the only thing keeping me alive. As soon as I let go of my concentration, my body will fail. My time on Annarrion is done. Once again, I did not want to drop this on all of you. My family knows this already. But I've just received grave word from the Dread Emperor Kirk Blackheart. Our mind seems to have been made up for us. Adamus Nightlock marches on Darkstar Keep. And he's visibly shaking. And through this whole council, he's looked, very strong, proud. Mm-hmm. If you look at him now, you can see the age in his eyes. Legs, body shaking, he manages to stand up. And he calls Annarrion to his side, and Cylindra, and they help him take off his robe. They've apparently been forewarned of this. They take off the robe of the gold archon, and they lay it on the table in front of everyone. And Escher says, I leave the future of all the magic world to Annarrion Wavecaster, and to all of you. This is not an order that can be led by one person. We have proved that here today. The Council of Nine, the 10 Archons, they cannot stay separate entities. The Shade Court, the Gods of Magic. We must have one unified structure if we are to survive the trials that come and die.
God damn it.
Sorry, did Solaris will step forward, or click his heels together and bow and say, may I be the first? Asha has wished me to express that the Sentinels of Tilvimbroy and I and the Archons are now at your disposal should you wish to use us.
This is news to me. If this has been dumped on me, it will be very difficult to govern both Lemuria and all of Tilvimbroy. But if that is my responsibility, I will not argue. I think at this point this council has to be convened. With this news, Annarrion, you should go to your father and see what he wants us to do. And Annarrion agrees and he walks out of the room. And everyone just kind of disperses.
And the Shade Court kind of swooshes out in shadows, but Vanir and Carlon will kind of stay around like, holy fuck.
Things are breaking up. As Solaris, I want to go over to Carlon once we have a break momentarily.
Oh, that's good. Go ahead.
So, by reputation, you're the authority on demonology.
One could say.
I need your help getting hold of a summoning ritual, a real one. I know the general gist, but I need the specific details for a particular demon. River shark, the lord of things that crawl.
And why?
Though I hate to say it, we need help from every corner we can get. And I'll be one. Oh God. He did not say that.
That was an out of character forced word.
And River Shog and I have an unfortunate history.
If you have an unfortunate history, then why in the nine hells would I summon him?
I'll do it. I just need help figuring out exactly how.
To bind such a demon to your service requires much, much more than an intricate summoning circle. If you realize this, it may cost us both our lives.
It costs us both a great deal more than that.
It may cost us both a great deal more than that. So I will try to make sure that if either of us has to pay for it, it'll be me. I'm willing to pay the price. He's owned me for a long time. really.
Vandu looks at me and he's like, it's always nice to swear away dead.
I've had this one for, how long has it been?
2,000
Hundreds of
years.
years.
I've had this one for hundreds of years, ever since me and a few friends did a little black magic in a storage house in the city of the Blackbirds. I think it's finally time that me and my old acquaintance had a talk about that.
Carl's gonna start looking at his chin and be like, I myself do not have the resources at hand to conduct such a ritual, although I do have the knowledge. You, but you're speaking as who now?
Smart.
You, as hand of the Archons, though, have more pull with them than I do with their resources. We will more than likely need the Gold Archon summoning circle itself.
So what were you requisitioning from Cryo? What were you asking?
Wait, are we role-playing Cryo and Vandera right now?
Yeah, the short-term part.
Short-term part. Requisitioning would be pretty much like, you know, I rarely ask you for anything.
For good reason.
For good reason. But as you know, existence itself stands in the balance. For not only for a time you will have plenty more souls to do with as you wish, but it is only a matter of time before these terrorists rip their ways down here.
That is true.
You and I, all due respect, are probably about as equally distasteful, sharing equal distaste of these things and reverence of their destructibility, right?
So what are you asking me to do?
Something I don't think I've ever asked you for before.
A hug?
Help.
It's not your name day. I have no forces to spare. The Abyss is an eternal battleground, you know that.
Of course. Well,
But there is something I could help you with. But it's not going to be free. As I said, it's not your name day.
you're talking to me, Pop, about things not being free.
Where do you think you got it from?
Yeah.
Okay, he says, I will give you a weapon. The only known weapon to be able to withstand Darksteel. You know as well as I do, this chain will snap the blade in two, and possibly even the Trivium blade, as easily as it would snack a halfling's neck.
Yeah?
This is the only known weapon, for unknown reasons, able to withstand that. Don't ask me how I came across it, but it has been of no use to me. He pulls out his bastard sword with an obsidian inlaid hilt and hands it to you. I believe the elves call it something like Steel Storm.
It's pretty, if anything. Huh. What did you say it was called?
Steel Storm.
That's the sword of Thamius,
Who?
the god of retribution. Do you not read? You're a wizard. Aren't you?
I'm not asking.
I told you not to.
Whatever, Pop. See,
In return, once you and your other pathetic mortals deal with this not so pathetic mortal, you know where to bring that chain. He disappears.
I believe we will be through this today.
Carlin, you ever tried to... Well, you ever lied to your dad before?
Do we know anything about Carlin's parents?
No, but I mean,
Just make it up.
You usually didn't say anything to me besides, get out of my place, you stuttering freak, so I usually didn't say anything to him.
Although he probably halfway expects me to do anyways. He's not getting shit. Think.
For once, I approve of disobeying the terrible, terrible monster.
And then also as well, he's like, you gotta think, the only way he can get to me now is if I'm down here first. Now if I die, I'm fucked. Literally, in more ways than face eternal torture, the likes of which I can't even begin to fathom. But let's say we succeed in all this, and we probably will have to deal with Drogo's demon and shit. But we kind of got the god that we got the somewhat god of darkness on our side, right?
There is that.
And at least all the arcane energy in the prime material plane, they released in cohorts with them. Actually, I haven't made up my mind yet, but
Please be careful with that.
it's just a really shiny, big sword, kind of a little crude for my liking. But hey, if it's what he says it is, then yes, you gave me Steel Storm.
Yeah, there's the Alathar's sword.
Yeah, this is the sword.
Killed Lord Kinvix.
It killed Lord Kinvix, yeah.
And at one point, basically killed Vergral, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It killed the Green Dragon Lord. It killed Lord Kinvix. Yeah, this is this and the Trivium Blade and like the Trident of Ariok are like the most powerful weapons from Annarrion.
And he wants the Chain of Souls in return. You don't want to give the Lord of the Seventh Layer of Hell the Chain of Souls, because then he's going to ascend up to level 9, and then he's just going to literally own Hell, and he himself is going to probably unleash Mordoon or some crazy shit like that.
Hey, we gotta have more campaigns.
You goddamn right.
Actually, we're gonna have to have all these. I'll just have to multiply Adams' damage.
Why?
Eldritch Blast. I won't have enough D6s.
Okay.
Oh hell! Please don't say stuff like
he can
that.
also get minimum.
I
that
know,
way,
but
but-
please,
but still,
please
like,
don't say that.
30, 40 D6 damage.
I don't want to know he can't. You don't have enough D6s. Oh, actually, I have enough D6s. I have like 20.
Maybe combined we would have enough to just roll for Adamus.
Jesus freaking
Well,
Christ.
then in that case, I'm gonna keep my D6s. So, we got our insect plague, and we got our giant. We got our spirits, our locust spirits, our bear spirit. We got our flight and our invisibility. Now this is still Adamus, but at least now we might be able to hurt him first.
When you all come in and fly in and take your positions, Adamus, and he's not in the air yet, Adamus and Kirk are just sitting at opposite ends of this big black darkwood table. And they just seem to be sitting there having a conversation. Kirk says, "You cannot capture my soul, Warlock. It already resides within the heavens. If you kill me, I will only return again. And then I will return to kill you again. You will not rest until I am destroyed then. Why? What do you gain from all this death? I gain the satisfaction of seeing you dead, of seeing this entire world burn as my world burned."
Alendor is going to speak up out of nothingness.
You speak of your old world burning into nothingness, and you wish to do the same to this one, to staunch all life. Old friend, my, how you have fallen so far. One who used to fight to reclaim his name, now you are no better than the ones who gave you that name. Adamus Ravenhair, as I once knew you, I bear no remorse in taking your life this day, nor staunching the vile, vile deeds you have done. You can give over that chain, and you can stop this madness, or it all ends here one way or the other. It is your choice.
This is my home, and these new creatures have taken it from me. I only asked for my world back, for my life back, my
Your
existence
world
back.
died a long time ago, whether or not by your hand or not. It's time you come to terms with that.
No!
Criminal